I'm gonna try to make this quick, but you know me, I be talking. And I lied, by the way. Obviously, that wasn't the beginning of the end of my mom, because it probably stemmed from when she was a kid. She suffered from a lot of abuse. Her dad was an alcoholic, and there's a lot of traumas that she just didn't talk about, which is also why I tell everybody, speak up. Tell people how you feel. Tell them what you're going through. Don't be afraid of the shit that you face. So for starters, I actually had a really good mom. When we were younger, she stayed home and took care of us when we were really little until she went to college. And when we moved to Fargo, my mom and dad pretty much switched places, and then my dad went back to college and he went to be an electrician while my mom stayed home, and it was pretty much my mom and my brother and I. So for me, it was a really big adjustment because I came from a really small town to this huge city. I also didn't have my brothers in the same school as me. I was introduced to a lot of different things that I had no idea were really a thing. I went wild. But when my mom came back around, my mom was my friend. Don't be your kid's friend. First time I ever did lettuce, I did it with my mom. Mom partied with us, we smoked, we did everything together, which is completely different than what you just heard about my childhood, right? That's because my dad didn't know. He was away at college and he only came back on the weekends, and then when my dad would come back on the weekends, we would just pretend like none of that was going on. Also, I got in trouble with Lisa, and we may or may not have illegally taken some motorized shopping carts and got charged with grand theft auto or something like that, so we were now in the system and on probation. However, because my dad was gone at college, he really couldn't control anything I was doing, and because my mom was my friend, I didn't really have a parent, so I kind of just did whatever I wanted to do. I would go to school, but I really hung out at school, and I would go home. I'd hang out with my mom, and sometimes I really wouldn't go to school because I had to watch out for my mom. My mom also had mental health issues, and I don't know how long my parents knew about it, but I really wasn't fully aware of it. I don't even think until like close to her passing. Depression, bipolar, and she had sleeping issues. But either way, she had a whole Skittle pack of medication to take, which I think is really ironic that they would prescribe her medication that she couldn't mix together because it would cause the end of her, and that's what she did. Mom was really bipolar, and so sometimes she'd be really cool with things, and then sometimes she really wouldn't be cool with it, and you never really knew when she was and when she wasn't going to be. Also, this is something that we didn't know then, and this is why I'm always telling people to speak up and talk about the things that you go through and you face. Because my mom was messing around with drugs and stuff, we didn't know that a lot of the stuff that she was doing was because of her bipolar. It actually wasn't because of the drugs. So I'm pretty sure that it was really frustrating for her to know that she wasn't doing these things, but she was being accused of these things, and we actually didn't know because we weren't educated enough about bipolar to know that there was a psychosis part. My mom would do really crazy things like, hey, I need to make sure you put margaritas around the apartment, because if you don't, those teachers are going to get mad about the G.I. Joes. Put makeup like on half of her face, and then she'd walk around with her hand over her face and her shirt was on inside out. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? I have to go to work, I have a meeting, it's like 4 a.m. And she would stay up for days too. If she would stay up for days, obviously I couldn't sleep, or if I had to sleep, I would just lay in front of her door so that if she did come out of her room, I would wake up. And then I wouldn't go to school, and then if I wouldn't go to school, I would get in more trouble, and been like JDC, or eventually they did put me in foster care. I think the first time I remember my mom trying to delete herself, I think it was like 15 or something, ended up in the psych ward. That was the first time I ever had to go see her in the psych ward, and that was really weird. I brought her gum and flowers, and she couldn't even chew gum because she had dentures. One time she went to the neighbor's house downstairs in the apartment, he was handicapped, by the way, went to the apartment, asked him for rubber bands, he said he didn't have any, and she said, oh, this dude took his money off of his counter, put it inside of a flower pot, went outside, and the manager found her outside in the dirt just in a t-shirt. Because I was in the system, if I pissed her off, she would snitch me out. I wouldn't quit smoking. All of this stuff was a huge strain on my parents' marriage, obviously. It got to the point where they were going to get a divorce. Mom was pretty upset, and she moved out into a shelter. A lot of people don't even know these things. I'm just telling it now. But I was there. Me and Lisa. We were there. Nobody else. So after their marriage and everything got bad enough, and I kept getting in trouble with the system because they told me that if I didn't go to treatment, they were going to put me on home on the range, and I'd have to go there till I was 21. Mom was like, okay, well, you just go here, and then I'm going to get myself together, and we'll go move to Colorado, and we're going to live with Terry, and everything's going to be great. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so we went to treatment, and she dropped me off, and I was like, okay, promise me you're not going to do anything stupid. And she said, I won't, Annie B. I promise. I knew when she looked at me, and I looked at her, in that moment, I was like, fuck, she's going to do it. I just knew it. I should have said something, because maybe if I would have said something, somebody would have been able to do something to stop her, but I didn't, and she did it. 2 weeks later, my dad came and told me that I no longer have a mom. Instead of planning my 18th birthday, I went home and I helped my dad write my mom's obituary and pick out what she was going to wear at her funeral. And then on my 18th birthday, my probation officer, my treatment counselor, my therapist, and my foster mom, but she's not included with the bad people because she was really, really good to me. She still is to this day, and I love my foster parents to death. My foster mom made me my favorite cake that my mom used to always make. Took me out to my favorite restaurant, and then they told me, we think that you've been through enough, so we're just going to let you off of everything. Cool, because now I have nobody. Now I really have nobody. Great. And I left. The system's really fucked up. They were so concerned about making sure that I was going to get in trouble that they didn't even try to help us. My mom had a seizure one time. I left school, brought her to the hospital, and they admitted her to the hospital, and my probation officer had me arrested, and I had to sit Thanksgiving in JDC because my mom had a seizure. One time I was forgotten at the school, and I sat at that school till 9 p.m. The treatment counselor told me I was going to be in trouble for it because I was forgotten. I had to call my dad to come from hours away to come get me. He was off working. I was forgotten. So anyways, follow along for the next video and I'll tell you about all the joys that I faced when I was inside of the system, borrowing motorized shopping carts, and why I feel like I was screwed over by the system. And also, by looking back into this, what I learned about this, but this is probably a big reason why I have a hard time telling people I need help when I need help. Because when I did tell people I needed help, when my mom said that they needed help, I just got in trouble. She just got in trouble. The only thing I got out of it was being left. Either way, I still survived. I know my truth and I know that my mom loved me. And because of all the things that she went through, I'm gonna make sure that I always speak up. It's okay to struggle and not be okay. Don't hide the things that are heavy. Let it out. Okay, bye.